Afternoon. How are we doing? We are rapidly approaching the end of September. Uh, it's October next week, I think. So we're going to have to start thinking about Christmas as well, I think. From next week. Hi, Ran. How you doing? It's nice to see a friendly face. Hiya, Marion. There's another friendly face. Right. Today we're going to make something called a no doubt pouch. Now, this is something that just popped into my head. You scroll through and you see all these different things, and I thought, oh, that would be a good idea, and it morphed, and so this is my version of it. Now, this is a no doubt pouch, okay? So it's just a pouch. I mean, we've all done pouches, but there's a window in it. And the window means that you'll be able to see what's inside, so there's no doubt about what's inside. Ha! So I'm so funny. Just in my own lunchtime. So I made one, and I've forgotten. Oh, I'm going to pinch some of Sarah's. I think there's some over there. I'm going to pinch some of Sarah's. Forgot the interfacing. So we're going to make one of these. Okay, I've tried to prep it as much as possible. So this was fabric out of my stash because I wasn't sure how it was going to work. So and then this one I've made from the Flirtation. I absolutely love this fabric. How cool is that? It's just beautiful. So this is the one that is in the pattern. And there's a pattern, people. Before I've even done the tutorial, I've done a pattern. So many times I've said, there'll be a pattern, and there never has been. But there's a pattern. So, hi Leslie, hi Linda, Ali, how you doing? How's your mum? So, we are going to do this, all right? So, off we go to the overhead, which is a 2, I do believe. There's so much stuff under this table. So we are, no, 2 was that one, 3. That's what we want. So I have a whole thingy here. Now the first thing that I wanted to do with it was I wanted to use a zippity-doo-dah because I thought it's plastic, and the idea was to have this, and then this would fold around like that. But I couldn't work it out. I couldn't get it to work. So I thought, abandon that and went to this. Okay. So this is the little window. We're going to sew this on, but under here, I've left the vinyl in. Okay. Because it gives it that stand-upableness. It makes it more sturdy. So, so I got rid of that idea straight away. But I thought I'd show you. If you were to make a small pouch, because you'll use the same method to make any size, you just make it to fit what you want. So if you were to make a small one and you only wanted a thin, then you could use this, but we're going to make our own. Okay. So the fabric I'm using today is a new one that's in. It's called Geckos. Look at this. It's I can't even remember what it's called now. It's on the website. But this actual fabric is called Geckos. Don't know why it's called Geckos. I would call it chameleon. But it's got this. And of course we had to have it. And the other one that I'm using is the other part. This is called dots. Okay, so this is my outside. And I just love it. It's so vibrant and wonderful. So that's the fabric that we're using. We're using a bit of vinyl. Now I've used the heavy vinyl. Okay. Just because I thought it would be more sturdy. Okay. So how am I going to do this? I've got to think about what I'm doing. Because I'm just I've done 1/2. Okay, so this is what we're aiming for. Now, if I put this in, does it show? Trying to come up with something that will show the vinyl better. It's very difficult, isn't it? Now I've curved the edges of the vinyl, okay, at the top. You don't have to, but I used a mug and I curved that over, okay. So my other piece is here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this all up and cut my curve in, and hopefully I can see it. So my vinyl is 6x9, okay. Vinyl 6x9, and we're just going to trim off the edge, if I can find it. There it is. Just so that they're roughly the same. I'm going to use my other one as a template. Now I actually drew a template. There we go. I actually drew a template on a piece of paper. That was my beginning. Okay. Oh, we're over here. That was my beginning, so that you can see the shape. All right. That's so I drew it. I put a mug on the on the corners, folded it, and cut it so that it was exactly the same. Okay. So I did that. This can be done at any size, but if you start at 6x9. So I've got my two pieces. Okay, so we're going to take our bottom of our pouch, okay, and we are going to mark up I was trying to remember, I've done it twice, you'd think I could remember this. I'm going to mark up 3 3/4 up from the bottom. Where's the bottom? I line it up with that there. See, it's all moved. I keep working on the square, and I think it's moved. Right, so there's my 3 3/4. So I'm going to come up, and my perspex is there. Perspex, my vinyl is there, going on the line there. So I'm just going to take it from there. Oh, I need a pen. Pencil, so I can point and point to that. And I'm just going to make a mark on it, just so that I know where it is. Okay, that's not going to work. I need a Frickson pen. Maybe that'll do. Now you're going to cover this, so it doesn't really matter what you use. So I was 3 3/4. 3 3/4. Right, let's see if we can mark this. I can't see it. Yes, I can. I can see it. So I'm going to draw a line and see if that will work across there, so that I can just about see a mark on there. Now we're going to put, sorry it's flashing, I think it's, if I knock the table it starts to flash. Now this one is going to go on the front like that, and that one is going to go on the back like that, but we need to flip them over. Now I've measured it at 3 3/4. If you measure at 3 1/2 and then put this on the line, I've been clever and I've measured it at 3 3/4 here, okay, and then I'm going 1/4 inch underneath like that. Now, Soline glue pen, if you mark along the line Which way? Yeah, that way. Just under or just above your line. It'll hold the fabric in place. Like that. It's going to hold the fabric, hopefully, at that 1/4 of an inch in place. Like that. And we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch from there. Now you need to put it so that the vinyl is sandwiched between your fabrics right side together. Okay, so we're going to put another little dab of glue in there, like that, and place this one on top. Now, the reason why I've used the glue is because, well, that's not straight, is it? At home, I could see it better. Right, that's there. Does that look straight? That doesn't look straight. Where's the other one? It's easy doing this when you're in your workshop on your own. Doing it in front of everybody, it becomes, oh, that's because I haven't drawn that line very straight. So we're gonna just put it in place there, like that, and hold it down. And then that one goes on top, like that, and hopefully they'll both be the same. Okay, and then we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch from the edge of our fabric. Hiya Pat, how are you? So we're going over to 4. Let me just put a dab of glue on there, hold that down while I'm moving it around. Like that. I'm going to go over here and we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch from, so that's 1/4 of an inch there. I'm going to sew just a stitch. Right along to the end. Now, this then will flip down like that, okay, and hopefully it seems to have come a bit further down. I think I've you want to finger press it because you don't want to take it to the iron. I'm finger pressing and nail ironing it down there like that, and hopefully that's a bit lower. And if we fold it to there, it should come to the end of your vinyl. I keep wanting to call it perspex. What's that? Like that. Now I've just ironed in. At home I would probably recut. Okay, so we're going over to the machine and I'm going to top stitch that in place. Now I did a double one. I've got lime green on the one that I did at home, but I didn't think to bring my lime green with me. So there we go. So we've top stitched that down Okay, now you want to trim it off. Where am I going? 3. You want to trim it off so that it all fits. It's the same same width as your vinyl, which is there and there. So just trimming it off on either side. So you can see that we've got that bottom bit of vinyl is now covered. Okay, and we do the same with this one. Look at where the end of the vinyl is. You don't want to make it any smaller. Like that, down there. Okay, so that's those two. So that's your side pieces done. So you're going to put those to one side. We're then going to take our zip piece. Okay, so these pieces are 2.5. This is what I've cut them at. 2.5 by 9.5. No, I didn't. These two side pieces are 9.5 by 4. The zip unit are 13 by 2.5. Now I'm using a really long zip because that's what I had in my zip box. But you can use, you need 13-inch zip really. This from here to there is 12.5 inches if you're using my measurements. So just work with, you need at least a 13-inch zip. And the pieces that we're using on the zip, I've got an outer piece and a lining piece. Okay. We always start the day with inspiration. That's lovely. I like that idea. I'd like to start my day with inspiration. You can see I've done a top stitch of line. So you want to take your 13 by 2.5 inch piece and you want to turn down a hem like this. Okay, you want to turn down your hem. All right, so we pull in our ironing board like that, and we are going to use this so that all my seams are the same, and I fold that over like that. Now I think we got these in the shop. Oh, it's folded. Oh, look at that, even longer now. I keep folding it back. So we're bringing this over and I'm just ironing a hem on this, okay, like that, folding it down and then put a better crease in there, like that. There we go. I'm going to use the glue pen again just to hold it in place on the zip. Now this zip is actually a concealed zip, so you can't see the teeth. The teeth are on the back, but I wanted the lime green. So we are just putting a bit of glue. This is when you find out that your glue stickers run out along there. Now you can use other basting methods. You can baste it with thread. You could pin it, but you've all been talking about that you use these glue pens for basting zips, and I thought I'll give it a go. I had a glue pen, but I didn't have the double-sided sticky tape that some of you use. So we're putting that on there like that. I'm just going to check my zip runs. It's not catching on anything. Nope, that's fine. Like that. And then I'm going to turn it over carefully. Put a bit more glue on there. Like that. And then we're going to do the same with our lining piece, making sure that it matches up on the bottom raw edge like that, just in case you've ironed it differently. Get all these bits of things out like that. There we go. So we are now going to take that over to the machine and we're going to top stitch it down. Okay. So number 4, I want to up my stitch length a bit. Well, I can never remember how to do that. With that. Oh, look at that. That's 3. I think. Let's give that a go. Let's see if that works. There we go. Right, which side are we on? Right. We did talk about changing the I've been using a zipper foot, but I'm just going to wing it, okay? Because it worries me that I'm going to put it on wrong. So we're just top stitching along here. The nice thing about concealed zip is there are no teeth getting in the way. There we go. It's not very straight, but it's on. It's on there, like. So there we go. Am I using a heavy duty needle? I'm just using a normal needle, Lynn. I did think about it the other day and I thought, should I use a different needle? But it was working fine. But I will change my needle now before I go and sew anything else because it's been going through vinyl, and Sarah's going to have to think about that as well because because I've been using it on her machine as well. So we now have our zip unit. At this point, we're going to think about what we're doing next. I want to put some interfacing on this, on this one, on the lining fabric. Okay, so I'm just going to iron that. This is my gusset. Now my gusset I've cut at 5 inches, but it needs cutting down. But I'm going to cut a 4.5 inch strip. I'm going to cut a 4.5 inch strip of my, I'm using fusible fleece because that's what I can see. I'm going to cut it down to 4.5 inch wide. Oh, when I was doing one of the prototypes, I managed to cut the vinyl. My vinyl is fixed with sellotape and then sewn in. Right, so this is going to go on here. Make sure I put the right side down. And what I'm going to do is iron that onto there. I'm going to cut it off. Yeah, sorry, I meant to get all this prepped for you. Okay, so I'm just inside, and then I'm going to iron this on here, and then we're going to measure our zip unit and cut our gussets down to size. Okay, you've got to keep your gussets at the right size. It's always an odd word, gusset. There are certain words that you say that you think, I'm sure there should be a different word for that. But a bag gusset. So we are there. It's like things like doing, or that's shifted. Doing always looks wrong when you write it. So your zip unit, or my zip unit, is 4 3/4 there. 4 3/4 wide. So we need to cut this down to 4 3/4. Okay, I'm going to fold it in half like that, and I'm going to cut this down to 4 3/4 like that. Just going to whip it up there. I cut it at 5 just in case my sewing went wrong. So you just trim it off at 4 3/4. Now this Gecko fabric would be wonderful if I'd fussy cut it, but I've got, you know, you've got full geckos in some of it. It's brilliant, I love it. And the other ones in this series had owls on it. There's an owl template panel. No, it's an owl, moth, hedgehogs, geckos, and something else. Six animals on a nightlife. Is it called nightlife? Anyway, where am I? What am I doing? Who am I? Right, on here, your zip unit, you want it to measure 12.5. So we're just going to be, this is a 12. Is that right? No, it's 12. Yeah, this is a 12 ruler. So I want to mark off here. Now, I'm not going to see that. I want to mark a line. I want to make sure that it's straight. I'm going to line up my ruler, a point on my ruler, with my zip along there, and make sure that it's pretty much straight along one of my measuring lines at the top. And I'm going to put a mark in here, because now I know that this edge that I'm working from is straight. Okay, and from there I need to mark 12.5. So there's 12.5. There we go. Straighten everything up. Now if I had a longer ruler, so you know that should be 12.5 there. Should be able to see that. We're going to take our gusset and we want to lay our outer fabric gusset. See if I can change the this, that it's going up. Hang on a tick. Change that. If I do it so that it's going up, does that change the light better? There you go. We got no stripes now. Look at that. A hummingbird, bee, hedgehog, owl, moth, and gecko is on the panel. Thanks, Anne. We loved it, didn't we, Anne? So you're going to take your where you've made the mark. You're going to take your gusset fabric and you're going to put it right sides with your outer fabric to outer fabric. Okay. Now turn it over. And you're going to take your lining fabric and put it right sides together so that it matches the fabric underneath. Okay, like that. And you're going to pin them together like that. Now I'm pinning from the other side because I'm going to sew on the other side like that. Now I used fusible fleece interfacing on this one, but I used just normal 250 on this one, the heavy duty one on that one. So it doesn't matter which interfacing you're using. And I did wonder whether to slot a bit of vinyl in, you know, when you put this on the first side, and just slot it in before you put the second side on, which would give it even more, but it wouldn't fold then. So we're going to now sew 1/4 of an inch from this top fabric edge. Okay, so we're going to go 1/4 of an inch from there ish. So line that bit up there. Like that. And I'm going to go along here. When I get to my zip, I'm going to reverse and come over it. It just gives it that little bit of extra safety on it, I feel. Okay, so where are we? 3. I'm going to take these pins out and we're going to flip these out now. You see, can you see what it is yet? So I'm going to finger press this into place like that, and finger press that like that, and then we're going to top stitch on here. Okay, so make sure it's all lined up. Oh, bum, I did it. I thought I was working on the other end. My zip pull is here, so now I need to unpick it to get my zip pull back into there. Do you know, it was on my brain, don't do that, don't do that. Guess what I did? I did that. And now I can't find a pick. Anyone would think Sarah never made a mistake. There's never a pick around. No, there's one. I can't tell you how many times I do this. Right, okay, so we're going to unpick this. I'm going to work out a way of unpicking this without ripping my fabric. Because I'm not going to go all the way back. See, typical. So, talking amongst yourselves while I'm doing this, we're having decking put down. I'm sure it's going to be lush when it's done. I can't get in there. Why can't I get in there? Oh, there we are. It's going to be lush when it's done. I've just ripped the fabric. But at the moment, it's at that stage where there's mud everywhere. The dogs are unsettled, and I just don't know whether it was a good idea. But it'll be, when it looks good, you know, when I look at it, it looks good. I can't. Well, I can say Sarah's machine has sewed it really well. I think I'm ripping the fabric. I cannot get in there. Okay. So at this point you think, right, that's it, I'm done. Go make a cup of tea and come back to it. I can't get in there. Why can't I get in there? I'm going to take it back, right back. It's probably easier to do that in the first place. Look at that. I can't see, it's all so dark. The fabric's so dark. And of course I went over it twice, 3 times. Okay, so what else has been going on? We told you about the Isle of Man. You've heard Sarah talk about the Isle of Man. Absolutely beautiful. I really loved it. You know, we even looked at houses over there. Thought White Gecko needs we need to move over and put another fabric shop over there. Why can't I do this? Why won't it work? I'm worried about ripping the fabric. I'm just ripping the fabric. I can't get in there to do it. There we go. It's a shame I can't edit the videos so that I don't do this mistake. Okay. Just a little bit more. So what have you all been up to? The weather has been pants here for the last couple of days, but it's sunny again today, which is lovely, which is good because I've got to drive down to Swansea tonight. I've got my sewing lesson, which I love, absolutely love my dressmaking sessions. There we go. Right, let's do that again. So I'm just lining all of this up here and sewing 1/4 of an inch. Now make sure that you put your zip, so we're going to cut that bit out now. Make sure that you put your zip pull in there, otherwise you'll have to unpick it. So we're going in there. Oh, it would be an amazing place for a retreat, Eileen. I absolutely I don't know what I expected, but it was just more beautiful. A lot more beautiful than I was expecting. So picturesque. Just lush. Keep going, Sarah, to the end. That's it. There we go. You've got to ask how that's going. It's going really well. I am not going as fast as everybody else. I have to be honest. I am so busy that it was probably the wrong time of my life to start a new project. But I've learned so much from Helen. It's just been amazing. You know, considering it takes me an hour and a half to get there, an hour and a half to get back after work, it's just so worth it as far as I'm concerned. Right, I'm going to top stitch along here. Okay, if I put a top stitch in, and it will hold this then in place better while I'm manipulating it back over to the machine. You've not had any rain over there. That's strange. I always think that whatever weather we get here, you've had it before us. But then I suppose you're a big area. You're not as small as I assume over there. Right. So we've done this. Now, the easiest way to make sure that you've got all your sizes right is to put it on. Now, I don't know whether you saw Sarah on Create and Craft, but she was talking about when we did the round baskets, when I first put them on, I never got it right. This bit, if you do this bit, you know that you've got the right sizes before you start sewing. Okay, so we've got this here, and we're going to line up our seam on our vinyl piece, right, with the seam on our gusset. Okay, so you line that up there and you put a clip in it. Now we're working with vinyl, so the less pins and the less sewing you do with it, she says, after having to unpick it and resew it, the less sewing that you do, the better, because you're making holes where it could rip. And you're just going to place it around, all the way around. Now you don't want to pull too tight, but you also don't want it too loose, because otherwise at the end of your the sewing, you're going to get it, it's going to pull. And then this comes around here. I'm just going to put that in there like that. Go around slowly, and I'm going to put that one on there. It's come away from there, but that's how it's supposed to go. So I'm going to pin it onto the bottom. Okay, so I'm making sure. Now I'm doing it right sides together. So all your raw edge is going to be on the outside. Okay. When we actually come to do it, I think we pin the what's it called? Pin it. This, the lining to lining. Depends on where you want your binding. If you want your binding on the inside, then you would pin it outer fabrics to outer fabrics. If you want your binding on the outside like I've done, then you need to pin it lining to lining. But we're doing it for sizing right now. So you need to fold it just like we do with a mitered corner. You're going to fold this back. You want a 45-degree angle on the inside there, and make that all line up with the bottom. Okay, so you want to fold it back so that it all fits, because this then is going to be your corner. Okay, so I need to bring it back a little bit so that it all lines up with the bottom, but you want a corner. So that works like that there. I'm going to put another one in there. You're going to come along to this corner, and you need to do the same. I want there to be a corner. I can't remember how to do this. Like that. Yeah, you can do it like that, because that is going to corner out like that. There we go. So make sure this is all still lined up. Like that. And you're going to make a corner there. So this reaches, it's where it reaches here. This is the line we want. You want your seam to be here. Okay, so where's my other one? So you need this to be 1/4 of an inch there. All right, and you're going to lay this over, and you want this to be 1/4 of an inch away from that line. Now this here, it's going to move along, so you don't want to give it too much ease. You want it to be fairly tight, okay, because as you're sewing, it's just going to give way. All right, so we've now made these marks here, and this is where we're going to overlap these at those marks. Okay, you've seen that? Does that make sense? Okay, and then we're going to unpick it all, unclip it all like that. Put the side to one side, and we are now going to take our lining with our mark here, and you're going to pull this up and over until your marks meet there. Okay, so that, you know, now is going to be where you're going to sew. So you want to make a mark along here,
going to be where you're going to sew. I'm going to throw that pen out because it really isn't working. Oh, a bit of a mark. So we know that we're going to sew on that line there. So you need to make sure that this gusset now meets the same point as your lining fabric that you folded over, like that. So you've got your zip piece is sandwiched between, and it's right sides together with your gusset fabric, the coordinating gusset fabric. We're going to pin that in there, like that, and there, and we are going to sew along that line. Come back over the zip and hope I've done it right this time, like that. Oh. And then you can chop off your zip. Okay, so we're now going to have another look. Oh, 3. So when you turn it around like this, you should have a circle. Okay, it should all be the right size, like that, and you have your circle with your gusset, okay, like that, and then you're going to put it back on here. So you are going to have your lining fabric up. You're going to, oh, I didn't top stitch that, hang on, let's top stitch that. Let's just put a top stitch on this. Make sure it's all there we go. So I've top stitched both sides, and we're going to line this lining to lining on your side, and we're going to clip that in there. So I've lined up my seam allowance, you know, to turn down the seam bit. I'm going to line those up there. I'm going to turn it around. Turn it around, take your seam, and you're going to line it up, lining to lining on the other side. Okay, just like that. Not like that, like that. And then you make sure that the rest of it all fits in. Okay, so you want to make sure that bit. Now you can work out middle, and work it out like that, and put this down. And I want a corner. So I think that's a bit wide. Probably do with trimming some of this off. I think it's all moved. So you want to do it so that this lays flat there, so that you know that it's going to work out. So put one there and one here, like that. We do the same on the other side. Like that. As long as you've got a fold in it, it will hold the corner like that. like that. And then you're going to make this fit all the way around there. And if you've done it right, it should fit in just so, like that. Now you're going to sew this to the side piece at a scant 1/4 of an inch. You want it to hold it all down, but you don't want your binding to show when you put the binding on. Okay, so there's what it looks like. We're going to take it over to the thingy. So I want it to join up. You can see I've got a little bit extra here on this corner. I didn't measure it well. I seem to have an awful lot of excess on my corners. So you're going to sew this on here. Now remember, you're going through quite a few layers now, so you want to make sure that I've got far too much fabric here. I've obviously not measured it well. If I take it down to there, like that. Now, I found that going around the corners was quite difficult, so I just did to there and then repositioned and went along. Now, in order for that to fit in there, like that, because you're putting the binding on afterwards, you can so you're just putting it along here, putting the binding on afterwards, you can leave that gap at the corner. Yeah, I've got way too much fabric. Look at that. Put a corner in there. Yeah, I've got way too much fabric. So, sorry. As you can see, as I've gone round, I've put far too much fabric here. Now that is why we put it on to begin with, okay? So I haven't got time to fix this yet. What I will do is I will get to this point and I'll come back to it next week and we'll finish it off next week. Is that all right with you? If we finish it off next week, and I will get it to that point. I've got too much fabric and there is no way I'm going to make it work as it stands at the moment. So I will fix that and we'll finish it off next week, okay? I'll show you how to do binding from a fat quarter, which I'm sure we've shown you before. But we'll get this, no doubt, pouch finished. No doubt we will. Okay, so I will see you next week, and you take care and have a wonderful weekend.